Okay, we've been discussing people who go ahead and sell something stam without being specific. Of course, if you would go ahead and specify exactly what's part of the sale, there'd be nothing to talk about. But if you sell stam, you sell a house, right? It's not, the barandus is not included. You sell a wine press, you sell an olive press. We went through different things. You sell a merchatz. What's included, what's not included. The rule of thumb was that if it's koveya, if it's set, then it's generally part of the sale. If it's not set, if it's metaltal, even if the shtamshis, the uses for that particular item that you're selling, nonetheless, it's not part of the sale. That was the. However, if you would add the addendum of kol ma shebesocho, then it would go ahead and include those metaltalin. So continuing along that theme, we're up to Samiches. Now it seems to be in the old days that people would actually own a town, they'd own a city. And again, obviously, when you see here the word city, you think of something humongous, like we're not speaking about New York, Los Angeles. We're speaking about probably a town from the old West, a small area that a person could possibly own that town. So a moicher esir on Samech and Aleph, someone sells the city, stam. Included in that sale be mocha botim houses, boiros shichin and ma'aros, these water cisterns, merchetzios of bath houses, the shoivchais and coops for birds. Beis habadim, included in the sale, will be olive presses. Ubeis hashlachim, and we'll have to see what that means. What beis hashlachim means? Beis hashlachim is a field that's irrigated by water. Avaloyas and metaltalin, but you wouldn't be go ahead and sell the metaltalin, right? Bisman sham leihi v'chol ma shebesoicha. Again, the continuous theme. When you sell everything in it, afilu hoyuba behema ba'avodim. That's a key line. Even if there's behemis and avodim, harikulim mechurin. In other words, there's a svara to say that behemis and avodim are not included in it. Kamashman, they are. If someone sells a city, you sell the santar, which will be a main discussion in the Gemara. Let's see Rashbam in the Mishnah. Machares abatim, the batim bechlal ir, because batim are included in the city. Umachares hachatzeros, included in that is the courtyards. La yitzrich lemisni, the hainu ikair. Even to say chatzeros, it was not necessary to go ahead and mention, because that's the main part of the city. The ir mashma avi ir, it's mashma the avi of the city. Beis hashlachin shechutz leir. These are speaking about something that's outside the city. However, v'smuchim leir, they're next to the city. What exactly what they are. We're going to have machlokas in the Gemara, which will impact the pshad and santar. Avalayas metaltalin mane tashmishe, the articles that are mishamish, these going tana v'kirayim, different ovens, right, that are movable. The cholhanach metaltalin d'leil, all the things we mentioned previously, the mortar and whatnot. Usmuchim the Amorim Behu Leimacha, the Kolshkin Chiti Basari, food would not be included. Afilu Hayuba, the Gemara Mafarish, my Afilu. Afilu's Mashmawat, my Chamurim Yosem Mishamet Limacha Bechalir. Why would it be more included? Why are you including this more? In other words, Pasha should say an Eved and a Behema is Metaltalin. So just if you say Kol Mashe B'Seichai, not only Metaltalin is included, but even an Eved and a Behema. Why would an Eved and Behema be more or less metaltalin than metaltalin, right? So we're going to have to see that in the Gemara. Okay, so the Gemara attacks that right away. Now, we had a machloikis in Baba Kama and in Shas. What's the status of an Eved? An Eved is k'mekarka or metaltali. And we said that, and we concluded that an Eved is k'metaltali. We make a hekesh between the Yerusha that one passes down to his family. Included in that Yerusha would be avodim, their karka. So that's not the discussion over here, says the Rashbam. The discussion over here is the mashmois of Loshin, what's included. We know that an Eved is nikta b'keser shtar v'chazaka. It's the Mishnah in Kedushin. So we know he's karka. That the discussion over here is, what does a person mean when he goes ahead and sells? What does he think when he's selling? In other words, the halachic aspect of it, the way we view an Eved, is kekarka. That's not the discussion. The discussion over here, when a person makes a sale, does he have in mind the Eved or not? That's the discussion over here. Now, what did the Mishnah say? If you say Kol Mashe B'Seichai, not only is metaltalin included, but even an Eved is included. So says the Gemara, Amalei Rav Acha, Berei Rav Avil, Rav Ashi, Shema Mina, we hear from here, from the Mishnah, that Avda is kimitatli dummy, that an Eved is kimitaltalin. Why would you hear that? The kimikarki dummy, this dovin agav masa. Because if we view him as karka, he should have been sold even before you said kol mashe b'soichai. He should have been included when you said hamoicher esa ir. So just like the ir, the city, the town, you included in that is a house, is a chutzner. An eved also would have been included in that. You wouldn't have to go ahead and be somich on the extra lashon, the yiter lashon of ubizman she'omar kol mashe b'socho. Again, from the lashon of the Mishnah, it's mashma that what? That if you say kol mashe b'socho, then an eved is included. But if he wasn't, but obviously it must be, then he's like metaltalin. But the Gemara is going to ask a question on that in a second. Because if we're going to view an eved as karka, then he would have been part of the original sale without the lashon of kol mashe b'socho. It would have been, you sell a city, included in that sale is houses, chatzeiros, avadim. But the Mishnah doesn't say that. The Mishnah only says avadim included in the sale after you said ubizman she'omar kol mashe b'socho, then it's included in the sale. So that's the diuk of the Mishnah. We'll view an eved in the lashon of people as metaltalin. Good? Now, so let's stick that back in the Mishnah, guys. Watch. You sell a city, included in that is that avaloyas metaltalin. You're not included now, meaning an eved's not included in that, correct? An eved, guys, an eved that's metaltalin is not included. Correct? Let's continue the Mishnah. Ubizman she'amaloi hi v'chol mashe b'seicha, and when he said the yita lashon of what? I'm not only the ear, but everything in the ear. Afilu hoyeba behema v'avadim harikula mechurim. Even if there was behema v'avadim, they're all part of the sale. Now, if you're telling me an eved is like metaltalin, why do you have to say afilu behema an eved? Why is he different than any other metaltalin? Afilu is mashmitz chiddush, yes? So, stam, you're telling me an eved is metaltalin, what's the lashon? It makes no sense. Why would you think not? That you have to say even him. Even is the chiddush, right? Not only is metaltalin, but even the eved is included. But if you told me an eved is metaltalin, of course he's included. So, great, you came up with this shot that he's not like karka, but he's not like metaltalin either. Let's see the Gemara. Ve'elamai, first wide line. Ve'elamai, you'll say avdaki metaltalin dami, an eved is metaltalin, and therefore it was the lashon of ubizman shomu kol mashe b'soichai. My afilu. What's the afilu? The afilu is mashma. Even avodim that are not metaltalin are included. That's why the mashmois is. I sell a city, houses, olive presses, chatzerim, but not metaltalin, not avodim. If you say kol mashe b'soichai, then metaltalin and afilu avodim. What's the afilu? Back in the Gemara, Elmayis chol ameima. What do you have to conclude? Shiny be metaltalin denaidi, me metaltalin loinayid. There's a difference between metaltalin that moves and metaltalin that doesn't move. The chiddush would be, fellas, that what's the chiddush? That even though an eved is mobile, even though an eved can walk and move around, nonetheless he's part of the sale. Now, once you said that, then you're not locked into saying an eved is metaltalin. He could be an eved is karka, and you want to know why he's not part of the original sale? Because there's a difference in karka that moves and karka that doesn't move. You're not locked. In other words, the lock in to say that an eved has a din of metaltalin was he wasn't included in the original lashon, correct? He wasn't included in the original lashon. The original lashon of what of I'm selling you a city. Why wasn't he included? We assumed because he's metaltalin. Says the Gemara, don't make that assumption. Maybe he's karka, and he's still not part of the original sale. You know why? Because there's a difference between karka that moves and karka that doesn't move. That's what the Gemara says. So I feel the tamer. Therefore, you could say that avda is kimekarka dami, shiny bein mekarka the 90 karka the 90. So therefore, you're not locked into saying that that an eved is like like metaltalin. An evet could be in the lashon of a person. An evet could be mekarka. And nonetheless, if he's a mekarka, if you sell a city, he's not part of the sale. You know why? Because he moves. However, if you say kol masha b'saychai, then even though he moves, he'd be part of the sale. So all we did was you had an assumption that an evet has a din of metaltalin. He doesn't. He has a din of karka, and the lashon of any other, he could also have a din of karka. Right? And the reason why he won't be included in the initial sale is only because why there's a difference in karka that moves and karka that doesn't move. Now, Rabbi Shimon Gamliel said that what? That in the lashon hamoicher es ha'ir mocher es santar. Now it's mashma then that the Tanakama holds that you're not selling the santar. So whatever the santar is, it's not part of the sale. Whatever the santar is not part of the sale. So Rabbi Shimon Gamliel Omer hamoicher es ha'ir mocher es santar. My santar, what exactly is the santar? Who is the santar? What's the santar? So Chachot Tirgamu here in Bavel Matargim Bar Machvanisa. Rashbam Bar Machvanisa. Let's go down. Eved Hamimuna Lahagid Ulachvuye Tchume Sadais. This was the Eved who his job was to know exactly the measurements of each person's field. Shel Mizer v'Shel Mizer. Who belonged to who? Who Eved l'Sa'ir. He was an Eved to the administrator of the city. V'Yevsher the ear b'Lavaysai. And it's not possible. The Santar, you can't have him. Rabbeinu Chanal Pirish Santar, who Shomer ear. It's a lashon of Shomer. Lashon Noitra Eschramim. The lashon of Tenoiter, like Neture Karta, like the watchers of the city. Noiter to go ahead and watch. Good. So machloikis. He's an assistant to the administrator and he knows the dimensions of fields that belong to who, or he's a watchman of the city. The bottom line is it's a person. That's the main thing you have to know. According to this, the Bar Mechvanaisa is a person. In Bavel, they said he's a person. Shimi ben Avtulis Omer, Bagi. You know what he is? It's the Bagi. It's the Sadais that are around the city. It's the Sadais that are around the city. So it's mashma according to the Tanakama. If you sell a city, the Sadais that are around the city are not part of the sale. Comes along Reb Shimon Gamliel and says part of the sale. So again, let's verbalize. Tanakama says the Santa is not part of the city. Either the person or the fields that are around the city. Says Reb Shimon Gamliel, no, either the person is or the fields are part of the city. Good. That's the machlokes. Now we're going to try to fit it in. Says the machlokes. Who's correct? Manda Omar ba Machvanaisa, the one who says the person is part of the city, despite the fact that he's mobile, Kol Shken Bagi. Again, the person can be in and out of the city, and nonetheless, he's part of the sale. So certainly the stagnant, stationary field is part of the sale. However, Manda Mabagi, who says it's part of the sale, according to Shimon Gamliel, Avol Bar Machvanaisa loy misdavna, but the Bar Machvanaisa would not be part of the sale. Okay. Tonight. The Mishnah said, if you sell a city, what's included in the sale is Beis Habadim. Included in the sale, what would be olive presses, Ubeis Hashlachim, and Beis Hashlachim, which is Pashtus irrigated field. Savrua, my Shlachin, is Bagi. Shlachin and Bagi are the same thing. Dichsiv, V'sholeach mayim al pnei chutzos. Now, guys, let's go back to the Mishnah and see why this might be difficult. Go back to the Mishnah with me. Ubagi, right? Bagi, you're telling me that Beis Hashlachim are fields, correct? And they're part of the sale. And the Bisman Shomad, someone who goes ahead and sells the city is selling mat. He also included in the sale is Bagi. Isn't that what the Tanakama said? If Beis Hashlachin's Bagi, and he says it's part of the sale, then Reb Shimon Gamliel is just repeating the words of the Tanakama. Bishleim, if you tell me that it's a person, then it's different. I understand that according to the Tanakama, fields are part of the sale, people are not part of the sale, and therefore, Reb Shimon Gamliel say, no, they are part of the sale. But if you're going to tell me that that Santar means fields, the Tanakama also admitted that fields are part of the sale, that Bagi is part of the sale. It doesn't fit in the Mishnah, guys. Let's see it inside. Bishlein Lamadi Amma Ba'amach Vanaisa, who says that the Santar is a person, Amma Tanakama Bagi Mizdavna. Tanakama said the lands are part of the sale. Ba'amach Vanaisa Loy Mizdavna, but people are not part of the sale. The person is part of the sale. Elamandi Amma Bagi, like the Mandi Amma says that Santar is what? Is a field. Tanakama Nami Haki Kamar. The Tanakama said what? Also Bagi is part of the sale, because Beisha Shlochen's Bagi. And the way we just read it in the Mishnah, you see it makes no sense. And for the Gemara, no. We're going to change Beisha Shlochen. Beisha Shlochen is not outside the fields. Beisha Shlochen is a garden that's inside the house. It's inside the house. Inside the city. Misab is my Shlochen Bagi. You say Beisha Shlochen is fields outside the city? Loy. My Shlochen is Ginunaisa. You know what Shlochen is? It's Ginunaisa. It's what? It is gardens. Shenemar, Shilachayich Pardes Mimoinim. Your lands are Pardes Mimoinim. Avo Bagi Loy Mizdavna. Oh, so now you have a pshat, guys. Let's go back to the Mishnah. We're going to stick this pshat in the Mishnah. You sell the city, you sell the houses, Ubeis HaShlachin, and included in the sale is gardens, vegetable gardens or whatnot, that are within the confines of the city. But the fields that are outside the confines of the city, the santar that's outside the confines of the city is not part of the city sale. Comes along Rav Shimon Gamliel and say, no, it is part of the sale. And that would be the pshat in the Mishnah. Says, let's see it inside. Comes along. Okay, that's the first lashon. So again, you have, he's held serve. Mandiyoma Barmach V'naisa made a lot of sense. The Mandiyoma that what Beis HaShlachin is what is a gina, then it makes a lot of sense. That the Tanakama would say Bagi is not part of the sale because the fields are outside the city, and Rav Shimon says no, it is part of the sale. Ikadi Armi Savrua Mai Shlachin is gina Naisa. In other words, they were gardens, part of the sale. Now, Bishlein Mandiyama Bagi, very good according to the Mandiyama who says that Santar is Bagi is fields. Tanakama Gunaisa. Tanakama said, you know what's included in the sale? The gardens that are within the confines of the city. Mizdavnin. Bagi, which are outside the city, Loi Mizdavna. V'yasser Shem Gamliel, Afilu Bagi Mizdavna. That even the fields that were outside the confines of the city are part of the sale. Amid Beis. Elman Omar Barmach Vanaisa. But Manima says it's a person. Amar Tanakama Ginanaisa. Says the Tanakama orchards, gardens. Guys, let's go through it. According to Tanakama, here's the way you read the Mishnah. The way Beis HaShlachin, the Ginanaisa, the gardens are part of the sale. Bagi, the Santar, the regular fields outside the city are not part of the sale. Comes along with Shimon Gamliel and says the person of the city is part of the sale. Who's he talking to? We're only mentioning land. We didn't speak about people. The flow of the Mishnah makes no sense. Shlachin is gardens. They're inside, part of the sale. Bagi, which is Santar, is outside, is not part of the sale. Comes along with Shimon Gamliel and say, but a person's part of the sale. Who was speaking about people? So therefore, it's shver like that mandiyama. So Oma Tanakama Gunanaisa, Umahadale of Shimon Gamliel Barmach Vanaisa. And for the Gemara, Misabis my Shlachin Gunanaisa. No, I got an easy way out. Don't say Beis HaShlachin is a garden. My Shlachin is Bagi. That's the fields that are outside the city. They're included in the sale. Tichsiv b'shalech mayim al pnei chutzais. Avo Barmach Vanaisa, but people lame is davna. In other words, we're just reverting to the original explanation. Depending how you go ahead and taich Beis HaShlachin influences the pshat in the Gemara. If you taich Beis HaShlachin as a Ginanaisa, then there's no mention of people. Why? Ginanaisa, part of the sale. Land, not part of the sale. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, land, yes, part of the sale. If you go ahead and taish beis hashlachin is land, then land is part of the sale. Santa, the person's not part of the sale. Shem Gamliel, the person is part of the sale. So depending on how you taish beis hashlachin, that influences the flow of the Mishnah. But everyone's held serve. Because why? They changed the pshat in beis hashlachin, and therefore it influenced how to go ahead and explain Santar. Tashma. Rabbi Yehuda says, now there's gersa problems over here. We'll keep the gersa we have over here. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Santar ain't a machar. Like the Tanakama, the Santar is not part of the sale. On kulmis machar, and on kulmis would be part of the sale. The Rashbam tells us on kulmis, who Sefer HaMelech, that's the scribe of the king, lichtayv mispar hasadais, to keep count of what, the amount of fields, va'abotim, and the amount of houses, va'anoshim, and the census, loses mas shekolecha l'sarair. In other words, he's the guy in charge to know the numbers, that we don't know how much people to go ahead, the head tax and the land tax. So that's the unkulmis. So the Santa is part of the sale. The unkulmis is the Santa is not part of the sale. The unkulmis is part of the sale. He's more necessary. My love, with the unkulmis gavra, when the unkulmis everyone agrees is a person. Santa nami gavra. The Santa also must be a person. Like we said, the Eved who's in charge of the measurements, yes? So this is Shver in the Maniyama that says it's bagi, that it's a field. Because it's mashma, it's not a field, it's mashma. Similar to Kulmis, which is a person. This also must be a person. It says, where you have the raya, meet the area, how could the no. One could be a person, the other one could be a field. Doesn't make a difference. Fred the Gemara, what's this, the Amit? Can you possibly say that Santa is a field? Is it possible to say that Santa is a field? I mean, what's this Amrid Hachi, that Santa is a field? So again, we're asking on the Man the Amar. For Ketani Seifa, Avaloi Shiyareha, we'll see what that is in a second. Not part of the sale is Shiyareha. V'loi bin Aiseha, the villages that are around the city are not part of the sale. V'loi Chorshin Hamuktzimla, nor are the forests that are set aside part of the sale. V'loi Bibrin Shel Chayim Shel Oifis Shel Dogim, the enclosures of wild animals or oifis or fish are not part of the sale. Ve'amina and my Shiyareha, we wanted to define what is Shiyareha that's not part of the sale, is Bizli. Is a Bizli. My Bizli, what's a Bizli? Amrav Abba is Piske Bagi. The Rashbam says Piske Bagi. If you take a look, go down a little bit right before it gets wide, a few lines up. Bizli is Piske Bagi. Chatiches Bika Hagadayla, pieces of a larger valley. Hasmucha Le'ir, that are near the city. Ella Shemufleges Mimenu Ktsas. They're separated a little bit. Sheish Hefsik Tsunma Bentayim. There are rocky appendages that are being mafsik between them. V'shireh is lashon shirayim hu. So it's a lashon of shirayim, like left over. So these are not part of the sale. They're not connected to the city because of these barriers of rocks that are being mafsik. So it's piske bagi, the hefsik of the bagi. Piske bagi hu delay mizdavna. Piske bagi are not part of the sale. Habagi atzma mizdavna. But the bagi itself are part of the sale. So guys, now let's go back. Go above. Rabbi Huda Omer, Santer Eina Machar. Santa is not part of the sale. And Kulmis Machar, but Kulmis is part of the sale. Now you wanted to say Santer is what? Is a person. Maybe not, maybe it's not. Now, so what do you say? Then it's land. How could you say it's land, guys? How could you say it's land? Only the Piske Bagi are not part of the sale. But the Bagi, the land itself, is part of the sale. Again, the diuk. Shiureha is not part of the sale. That's the Piske Bage. That's the land that's mafsik through with rocks. The land that's not mafsik with rocks is part of the sale. So if you're telling me that Santa is Bage, how do you learn Pshat? Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Santa ain't a machar. You're saying the land is not sold, but according to the Tanakama, Bage is sold. It is sold. That's your problem. So how can you possibly say that Santa is land? We see over here that land is sold. From the fact that Shiureh is Piske Bagi, but the Bagi itself. So it must be Santa, must be a person. Santa is not part of the sale. But if Santa is Bagi, then you got a stira. In one hand, you're saying that what it's not sold. On the other hand, now you say it is sold through influence. So Apech, switch it around. Rabbi Yehuda is Santa Machar and Kulmis Eina Machar. Okay? So the Santar is part of the sale. The Bagi is part of the sale. but the Ankomis is not part of the sale. So going back above, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 7 lines down, Rabbi Yehuda Omer Santa Eina Macher, just change that around, guys. Santa Macher. Santa really is land. Shireha, the Piskei Bagi is not part of the sale. Land is part of the sale. So it comes out now that Rabbi Yehuda holds like Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel. The Tanakama holds says that the land is not part of the sale. Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel says the Santa is part of the sale. And if Rabbi Yehuda is going to hold the Santa, the land, is part of the sale, he holds like Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel. Good. Fred the Gemara. Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel. Is it possible to say that Rabbi Yehuda is of the opinion that he holds like Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel? Svirle, Rabbi Yehuda Kirabban Svirle. He holds like the Rabbana that the Santa is not part of the sale. Diktani Seifa, Avaloi Shireha, not the Piskei Bagi, V'loi Binaiseha, and not Binaiseha, and not part Binaiseha were the Kfarim, they were the villages. V'ilu Shimon Gamliel Amar, Hamacher Eseir, Macha Binaiseha, the villages are part of the sale. The villages are part of the sale. So we have two discussions, land and villages. In land, you're telling me he holds like Reb Shimon Gamliel, that land is part of the sale, the Santa is part of the sale. He clearly said in the Brisa that villages around the city are not part of the sale. Yet Reb Shimon Gamliel is saying villages are part of the sale. So how can you say he holds like Shimon Gamliel? He's agreeing by here and disagreeing by here, and the Gemara is going to say yes. He agrees by Santar, he disagrees by Kfar. Says the Gemara. The Tanya, someone who sells a city is not selling the villages around the city. Reb Shimon Gamliel is of the opinion is selling the villages. So you have a problem. On one hand, Rabbi Yehuda is agreeing regarding Santar, he's disagreeing regarding villages. So it must be he disagrees by Santar as well. And for the Gemara, Rabbi Yehuda Sabalei Kavasei B'chada. He holds like him by Santar. Santar means land. Land around the city is part of the sale. He agrees with that. And Rabbi Yehuda disagrees with Shimon Gamliel regarding villages. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel says villages are part of the sale of the city, and Rabbi Yehuda disagrees. But the bottom line is, the Mandam who said Santar is land, held serve. So both of them held serve. The one who said it's land, the one that says it's a person, they held serve. We have no way of going ahead and slugging up one or the other. Now, the Brisa just said that the birin of Chayis, Oifis, and Dagim are not part of the sale of the city. The birin shall Chayiv, Oifis shall Dagim. Uriminu, I'll ask you a stira. Hoyla Bonois, if they were Kfarim, if they were villages around the city, Einim Charas Ima, those villages are not part of the sale. Hoyla Chelik Echad Beyom, let's say the city had an island, but it was called by the name of the city. The Chelik Echad Bayabasha, and it identifies as part of the city by that name, then it'll be part of the sale. The birim shel chayv shel oifis shel dagim harei lemchar. You see, they are part of the sale. So l'char you have a stira when it comes to the enclosures of animals, chayis and dagim. We have one brisa saying it's not part of the sale. Now we have a brisa that says it is part of the sale of a city. It says lekasha hadin agiach ki legav. One is the opening opens inward. So when it opens inward towards the city, then it's part of the sale. And the opening is outside the city. Then it's not part of the sale. Fred the Gemara of a katani es chorshin hamuktzin, and not the chorshin hamuktzin. The ya'ar is mashma that even though it's open towards the city, they're not part of the sale. Even though it's open towards the city, it says ema hamuktzin himena, that are separate from the city. Don't say the ones that are muktzin towards the city. That says the muktzin that the yar is away from the city. Since it's away from the city, it's not part of the sale. So depending how it faces. Okay, we'll stop over here.